The Fly is like, I actually want to vote for R.F. Kennedy.
Probably.
No.
I want to vote for the worm that ate R.F. Kennedy's brain.
I bet the worm's controlling him like Ratatouille.
Just pulling on a neuron here and there.
That's my second Ratatouille reference today.
Really?
Uh-huh. I don't have a lot of jokes.
Just Ratatouille jokes. Oh! You were so close. You, had to have hit it and just stunned it. It just flew over here.
Can you tell I've done this before?
Dude, I go feral. My neighbors have definitely heard me smack the shit out of my window, multiple times in a row, trying to get a fly.
There was one point at the retreat, which was one of the low points of my life.
Damn.
I had a gnat infestation in my fucking bathroom, so I literally just went into the bathroom and just started killing them. just smacking the wall And my room was on the main floor,
right?
So I came out.
Sound like a Fed noggin almost.
I emerged from there, and Xavier was like, "You good, fam?" Because all I hear is me fucking slamming and knocking. I'm actually horrible.
I'm actually giving up on life. This is the sound of me rage quitting college.
That's actually so embarrassing how much they heard me rage at Rocket League or COD. Mostly Rocket League.
Rocket League's fucking hard, though.
Welcome to the Fly episode of Highly Suspicious. We can't cook until we kill this fly. We're metaphorically cooking today. We're not actually cooking, Matt.
No, otherwise it'd be the cooking episode.
This is the disadvantage of having so many dark colors in here. It just skirted past you.
I just need to, lock in on it with radar.
There it is.
Hello, and welcome back to the Highly Suspicious Podcast with Louie and Preston. My name is Preston.
I'm Louie.
And this week, our special guest, the fly that came in with Louie.
A fly clap for a fly.
Welcome to the Fly episode, everybody.
We're not doing this.
If you hear any buzzing, ignore it. It never happened.
It was me. It was me, secretly.
Louie actually has Tourette's, but we just edit it out every episode.
Yeah. That's why I have to be a control freak and edit everything. Because otherwise...
Everyone would know your secret.
That I'm a Tourette fly.
So, is there anything to actually talk about? Has anything happened in a week?
I think we get...
The Olympics ended?
I think we get the luxury this week of kind of being able to talk about anything that we want. Because a lot of times we're the prisoner of the moment. We have to be like, okay,
that's true. It has.
We got to talk about the news. We got to talk about.
We don't have to talk about.
Here, come over to this side so the microphone's set up. I know you like the new chair. Ugh. It would have been strange looking you in the eye when I talked to you.
As per side by side where we're both just looking at the mic.
Yeah, I'm usually just talking to the mic like it's you.
Like it's the special guest.
So here's kind of the almost philosophical topic that I wanted to get into.
Fuck yeah.
So, obviously this is fresh on the mind. This is kind of what I've been thinking about. I've been on the job search recently.
Right.
It's been pretty much consuming every facet of my life. And I think a lot of people in this world really like money. And
isn't that fucking crazy?
It makes sense to some degree, but I think there's the saying that money isn't happiness.
Yeah, can't buy happiness.
And some people say money is happiness. Money can buy happiness.
Yeah.
So, I just want to get into the philosophy of money because I am a finance person, which is basically a science of money.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of funny because, I was talking with Ben the other day, and he just kind of had a comment where he was just like, you're not, you like what you do, but you're not in finance just because you like finance.
Right. You're not obsessed with finance.
And I had to kind of be like, I do really enjoy finance. And I busted out the book that I was reading.
Yeah.
Which is a crazy finance book about national debt.
Yeah.
And I was like, do you think I would
It is interesting. I can agree conceptually.
Do you think I would be reading this if I was just trying to get paid? That I was just focused on $1?
That's on your resume that you read that book.
No, it's not. It should be, though.
Should be.
But, what do you think about it? What do you think? Obviously, there's a balance, but where do you fall on the spectrum?
Live in the fucking United States of America, and that is a society that cares a lot about material goods, about the power of the dollar, about, like, financial freedom specifically.
Yeah.
So I think it's, like, just the way that we're exposed to it, you know, in a way that it affects every facet of our lives.
Yeah.
I think that it's very easy to care about money in that kind of society. And I think that, like, I believe in, like, the concept of universal basic income and shit like that, though. I think that, like, if we're going to have a society that operates off of a thing that has no actual physical value, you know, a piece of paper or some numbers on a computer, then I think that if that is what needs to be used to attain everybody's needs, I think that's how people think that money correlates to happiness, you know? I think it takes a specific mentality to find happiness without money, you know, in our sort of society that we've created. So I think that's why there's that association, because it's like, yeah, most wealthy people probably have their, like, social needs met of, like, security and all that psychological shit. So I think it's easier for them to be happy.
So
just in the same way that it's easier for them to be, like, healthier. You know?
Remind me to get into the universal basic income stuff later in the episode.
Okay.
But I think you are perfectly guiding the conversation into kind of what I wanted to bring up. So, the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, that's something that we've talked about on here before. Basically, if you didn't take AP psychology in high school, it's basically a pyramid of how each level you pass... It's
a tier list of social needs.
Each thing that you achieve is basically
a step towards
happiness.
Honestly,
basically.
it's not. In my mind, it's not necessarily happiness. It's almost contentment.
Yeah,
you know?
But that bottom of the pyramid is like basic safety.
Yeah.
So it's like roof over your head.
Yeah.
You have food, all that
water.
Shit.
Stuff that everybody should have.
And then the top of that pyramid is when you have everything else. You have money, you have success, you have respect, all that other stuff. And it's self-actualization. Mm-hmm. And so, based off of that, it's not necessarily happiness to just have a whole boatload of money. Yeah. And I think the easiest...
Yeah, because the higher level stuff is more like pride sort of things.
Yeah. I think that the biggest proof to the contrary that money buys happiness is just seeing how many wealthy and famous people are unhappy and how many wealthy and famous people kill themselves.
Exactly.
Like, Anthony Bourdain's a good example.
A great example. But it's because he had imposter syndrome.
But he had money, he had success.
Gotta travel and fucking eat for a living,
and
you know?
He traveled to the coolest places in the world and had some amazing food just all the time. And a lot of people were envious of that life.
Yeah.
And that's still not enough to be happy.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, it doesn't guarantee happiness. It might make it more attainable.
I think that money isolates you in a lot of ways. I think that's overblown.
I think it's a
little bit.
Work sort of associated thing in my mind. Like, more money means you need to have more drive, which means you need to do more to make more in our society. That's why passive income's like the ultimate for a lot of people.
Yeah, right.
But most jobs that make good amount of money, you gotta work your ass off.
Yeah.
And so that also isolates you.
And that's another thing. Like, you talked about financial freedom.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good way to put it because financial freedom is fucking lit.
Right?
If you could just have the freedom and the finances
every so often
to
I
be
talk
able
about
to
renting my house.
To just fuck off on a yacht, that would be pretty cool. It would be pretty hard to be unhappy.
I'm a little redneck, so give me a pontoon boat.
Yeah, exactly.
Or jet ski or some shit.
At Rough River, still be fucking lit though.
Wouldn't it?
Still be fucking lit. But,
sorry, I meant my lake house.
But if we're talking about money specific, where's this money coming from? Fucking grinding, working hell hours at work, being super ambitious, going for that
taking risks,
next bonus goal at work, going for it, and that can be fulfilling to some people.
Yeah,
but also work a lot of the times consumes us.
And it can drive people to burn out, too.
It burns us out, and it also keeps us from doing a lot of the things that do make us happy.
Or
like
that
spending
are
time
more
with
fundamentally,
family,
like,
or significant other.
Yeah.
Or
I'm glad you're bringing this up, because I kind of also wanted to point out, I think that some of the association of happiness to money is that, like, money can buy temporary happiness, instant gratification kind of happiness.
Yeah.
Of like, oh, I gotta go do this thing because I have this money, so it bought my happiness today.
But that's not.
But it doesn't buy. It can't buy you time,
happiness.
Which is like truly valuable. That sort of family time, or just time to decompress. You know, and that's part of what drives to burnout for sure. Is just that need to keep doing it in most circumstances.
Yeah, a lot of workaholics are also alcoholics
and absolutely depressed as fuck.
And go home and don't have very long to decompress, so they just have to get shitty, just get home and absolutely get wrecked.
Yeah.
And
because that's how they can relax.
That's probably not a sign that
is on a depressant.
You're super happy.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But yeah, I think that money does give you some leeway to be able to do what you want to do. But like we said, it's job related.
Yeah, it's momentary. Yeah, it's momentary happiness.
So if you won the lottery,
oh my god, we were talking about that earlier this week,
and you didn't have to do any work for the money, you just got it. You could either get it in lump sum or you could get it in installments.
Yeah, for the rest of your life. Honestly, depending on how much, installments would be pretty sweet. I think it would keep me.
I think
humble. Or I would take a lump sum and invest it. Like, that's what you should do.
That's what you should do, but I think a lot of people get the lump sum, blow it in like 5 days, and they're right back to where they started.
Buy a car, buy a house, but then you got no way to maintain the house, maintain the car, because you just went through all your money on that shit.
So, I took a philosophy class in college called The Good Life. Have I talked to you about this before?
No.
So, it's basically about, like, philosophically, like, how you achieve that good life, how you, what that even looks like, even.
It looks different for everybody.
Whether it's happiness or, whatever. Yeah. But one of the classes we took, we had to read this article called Lottery Winners and Accident Victims, and it's about something called the theory of adaptation. So basically, if you're a lottery winner, if you're one of the 7 billion people that are lucky enough to win the lottery, you are very happy at first, and then you kind of get used to it, and you kind of...
And it levels off. Yeah, it plateaus.
And then you're kind of like, this is some regular shit.
Yeah.
And
changes your standard for normal.
And it's the exact opposite way with victims of traumatic accidents where, people lose arms, legs, are disfigured, fucked up for the rest of their life. And it's the exact same thing where at first it's terrible, it's the worst thing, you almost don't even want to keep living.
Yeah.
And then you get used to it and you find contentment and you find, this is my life now and I'm getting used to it.
Well, it's like the stages of grief almost.
Yeah, right. Acceptance. In a way. Exactly. But even in a scenario where you don't have to work, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're happy as fuck.
Well, also you haven't achieved anything. It was luck.
Yeah, exactly. And that goes back to that imposter syndrome too. Like, it doesn't give you self-worth to just have a bunch of money, which is why a lot of wealthy people are trying to.
Well, and I would say happiness is a mentality.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a state of mind. So yeah, like we said, momentary happiness. Instant gratification sort of happiness can come monetarily. But I think even for people with money, there are plenty of people who want more money because they're not content with the shit ton of money that they already have.
And I think it's a certain type of personality for that. I think that a lot of those people do think that I'm about to get the fly. Let's go. Fly episode over. Cut. Fuck. That threw me off. Oh yeah. So if you're in a state where you are chasing riches, wealth, being able to get all these things. You are under the impression that being able to drive that Lamborghini, that Porsche, that's going to make you happy. And then when that doesn't make you happy, you can't say, oh, well, I've been living wrong this whole time, trying to do something that's not going to make me happy. You have to keep... It becomes a self-perpetuating cycle where it's like, now I want a Maserati because the Porsche isn't shit.
It's not fun anymore. Yeah, it's like when you want like a new toy as a kid or a new video game or something like that, where you're like, you wanted that more than anything in the fucking world.
Yeah.
When you first saw it, you get it, you play it, it's nice, but it's momentary. Another thing comes out, shiny, new.
Yeah.
Now I want that more than I've wanted anything ever in the world.
And I don't know about you, but those moments are just as important for the social impact as they are intrinsic value. Because, like, with video games...
Yeah.
I had video games. I had video games that I loved that were really fun to play.
Yeah.
But because the kids that I was friends with and
had a new one,
were talking about Black Ops and how fun that was, and my mom didn't let me play M-rated games.
So you wanted it more than anything else?
Like, fuck.
It's forbidden.
Lego
knowledge.
Star Wars is pretty cool, but I'm fucking an adult now. I'm in 4th grade, but I'm an adult now, and I want.
Yeah.
I have more.
I'm old enough. God damn it.
I have more sophisticated taste now, and exactly what you said. Eventually, years down the line, I get
like
Black Ops 3, which I still have.
It's just a game,
and then it was just like, yeah, it's a first-person shooter. You know, it's cool.
It's fun, yeah, but it is what it is. And now there's new stuff, and there always will be.
There always will be. And that's part of the consumerism that we're convinced that this material stuff will
It is so an illusion and totally some, like, the way ads are made, there is a whole psychology to, like, the actual process for producing advertisements. It's totally some brainwashing shit. They're totally, like, these colors like look attractive or make you think of this thing, so we'll use that psychology for the scheme,
right?
And then it's just like the rest is just a total illusion.
Yeah. Another point to why I think money is not happiness. I've seen, this is anecdotal as fuck, but a lot of the people I know that grew up with money, grew up in a wealthy environment, just end up doing stuff that they want as opposed to, you know, chasing that bag and trying to be in a profession that pays the most money. Like, a couple of my cousins grew up really well off, and they ended up being a special ed teacher and a camp counselor.
No way.
So
yeah, those are just both like...
So those aren't
decent things.
Those aren't jobs where you're chasing the bag.
But yeah, are they going to be able to live off that kind of money is the question then.
Yes.
You know?
From that perspective, is the job fulfilling to you? Is the job...
That's more important for sure.
Is the job doing something for you than more than a soulless, for example,
paycheck
accounting job?
Yeah.
That you may not enjoy. Sorry if... the accounting firms that I applied to are listening to this right now, but your money can't sway me.
Can't buy happiness.
I am unmaterialistic.
Yeah.
I really don't care about that stuff. A lot of people do flex their cars.
Mm-hmm.
I am happy in my Subaru.
Yeah.
And I will drive that bitch till the wheels fall off.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about it.
Well, and it's like, that's part of the value of stuff too, is like, you should fucking use it.
Yeah.
Till it can't be anymore. Like, that's real value. I feel like that's my thing, too, with a lot of, like, since you have referenced cars a lot in this. Some BMWs are, like, pieces of shit. Like, I know a lot of people with BMWs that continuously have issues. And it's like, if you gotta import parts and shit, you're just asking for trouble. But, like, get a beater. Parts are cheap.
In my marketing class, they talked about how pricing kind of has an influence on us, in our opinion, of how well made stuff is, how luxury something is.
Fuck your leather seats. A decent engine?
We think that it's backwards. We think it's the opposite. We think that because of the care that's put into going on the car example,
that's definitely an illusion
the
of capitalism.
seats, the detailing, all that stuff. We think that that's the excuse for it to...
says, look at this surface value.
To be more expensive. When in reality, again...
A reliable car should have more value.
Is more reliable than a lot of those more expensive cars, which tell me how that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing I enjoy is watches. It's probably the most frivolous thing I like. I like pretty watches. I think they're great accessories. I think they're a good conversation point. I don't even have a watch on right now. But that's why I love like Fossil watches. That's why I love like Seiko watches. Because while they're not Rollies, they're not Patek Philippe's, they're not luxury brands.
They're not diamond encrusted.
They're very well made.
Yeah.
They're still pretty.
And they're fashionable cool and like well designed. Yeah. I totally get what you're saying.
And that's a big part of it too, is what other people tell you.
Yeah.
How other people affect your worldview. Because that's me deciding what I think is good and what I think is cool, as opposed to
this pre-imposed value on something.
These people that listen to Gunna.
Yeah.
And they're like, I want a Patek now. I want AP on my wrist.
This just makes me think of all the like Cybertruck and Tesla bros, where they're just like, it's just perfect. Every other nerd said so. There's like, I must have one. Salivating while they're saying this. I want to show you this video that I found. It's so funny that you brought this up as the topic to start the show.
Okay.
Because I literally saw this reel the other day where this is about Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
Love it.
And specifically in like indigenous communities. And I think that it's like from when he was working on his theory, he went to study the Blackfoot tribe of the U.S.
Did you know that Maslow's hierarchy of needs might actually be the appropriation and misrepresentation of the teachings of an indigenous tribe? You see, when Abraham Maslow was 30 years old, he needed to test a theory of his that social hierarchies are maintained by dominance of some people over others. And to test this, Maslow arrived in Siksika to meet the Blackfoot tribe. And immediately they started proving his theory wrong. He found stupidly high levels of cooperation and very minimal inequality. Everyone had enough food to eat and had very high levels of life satisfaction. In fact, Maslow estimated that 80 to 90% of the Blackfoot tribe had a quality of self-esteem that would only be found in about 5 to 10% of the American population. Maslow had found a place where self-actualization was the norm. Now, if we look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs, we can see that self-actualization is at the top here, meaning that in order to get there, they need to have all these other things fulfilled. Maslow is asking, how do we get to self-actualization? How do we earn it? But for the Blackfoot tribe, self-actualization wasn't earned.
Yeah, it was innate. Yeah.
The Blackfoot people saw self-actualization as innate. And when you do that, you are trusting them to express the best version of themselves to you, rather than making someone the best version of themselves. So, for the Blackfoot tribe, we immediately have to switch self-actualization and physiological needs on this pyramid. Now, let's talk about these three at the bottom. Maslow witnessed that in the Blackfoot tribe, things like basic needs, safety, and conditions for the expression of purpose was seen as a community responsibility, not an individual one. Dr. Cindy Blackstock refers to this responsibility as community actualization. Many First Nations have created formal and informal ways of transferring wisdom from elders to youngsters, generation to generation, to ensure that they are able to continue to support community actualization and self-actualization. Cindy Blackstock explained, First Nations often consider their actions in terms of the impacts of the 7 generations. This means that one's actions are informed by the experience of the past 7 generations and by considering the consequences for the 7 generations to follow. Blackfoot scholar Billy Wadsworth says that Maslow did not fully situate the individual within the context of community. He says that if Maslow had done so, the model would be centered on multi-generational community actualization versus on individual actualization and transcendence. So up here, at the top of the triangle, we have the passing down of knowledge. But now let's talk about the problem of the triangles. Triangular models like these suggest there's a place we start meeting our needs and a place where we finish meeting our needs. Do we always need to follow the same route? Because
I think they're getting a little too into it for our purposes, but yeah, I thought that was really interesting. And even above self-actualization on the Maslow's pyramid is transcendence. I don't even know what that would mean above self-actualization.
It sounds like some like Nirvana shit.
Yeah, like internal peace type of shit.
I don't know how she's saying that the pyramid's wrong.
I think that what they're saying is like it's an ongoing process, you know?
But what she's
saying... So it almost should be like a circle.
What she's saying, though, is like these people are self-actualized
already.
Just naturally.
Because society allows them to... Because their society allows them to be.
But just based off of that hierarchy, I've always believed in it just because if you are fighting for your life every day, if you're trying to survive every day, then that's what you're focused on. And if you have a successful hunt, if you're a hunter-gatherer from,
prehistory,
a million years ago, then if you have a successful hunt, you get mammoth and you eat mammoth for a week, then it's like, this is a good fucking day.
This is a good week.
You know what I mean? And self-actualization, I think, is something that we've had to focus on more with the advent of
like society,
Mesopotamia, post-farming, and stuff like that. And so I think that the hierarchy makes sense as far as, and like the middle being love and acceptance. Can you really be self-actualized without love and support from others?
Well, I
know
think
that when I felt really alone, that I haven't felt as sure in myself. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I think
I think that's a part of community, right? So
is love and acceptance.
She's saying that's what that sense of belonging is from, is a sense of community.
So self-actualization as a result of community actualization on their pyramid. Really?
That's kind of what she's saying with the other stuff.
With their society.
But I don't know if that's necessarily true, because societally actualizing, like, as a group, that kind of takes away from the self.
From self-actualization?
Not saying it can't be helpful to lead to self-actualization. I just think it kind of goes in with being loved and accepted.
Well, and like they said, there's also parts of that second pyramid that are innate, that are otherwise present as tiers on like the more Western self-actualization pyramid. So you kind of end up with like there being parts on that pyramid that you don't even see that are already like precursors to that self-actualization. So the self-actualization comes as a result of needs that aren't even stated being met, such as safety, such as like your physical needs being met, because those are just like part of the society, as everybody's needs are met.
Yeah.
So I think it does just innately like fly in the face of the more Western view, but I think that that's just because of our society.
So, I wanted to get into a conversation about universal basic income.
Yeah.
But it is time for
musical intermission.
And it's my week, isn't it?
Basic income afterwards. Yeah, it is. I can grab the speaker.
Okay. That might give me a second to decide. Okay. I think this song connects to
the topic
what we've been talking about, which I always like to do if I can. It's also a song that I've probably heard maybe twice, so I've kind of discovered it recently.
Cool.
But this is The Fear by Lily Allen.
Life's about film stars and less about mothers. It's all about fast cars and cussing each other. But it doesn't matter, cause I'm packing plastic. And that's what makes my life so fucking fantastic. And I am a weapon of massive consumption. And it's not my fault, it's how I'm programmed to function. I look at the sun and I look in the mirror. I'm on the right track, yeah, we're on to it.
That actually reminded me of another point I wanted to make about the last conversation.
Hell yeah, we can just keep having the conversation.
So that's good. But that was The Fear by Lily Allen.
Fuck yeah.
Did you see when this was made?
No, I did not.
You want to guess?
Let's see. Thinking of my indie pop taste. A lot of it's almost like 2012 or like some shit like that.
That's a good guess. This is 2009, so it's very...
Okay, not too far off, really.
Lily Allen, I think, is kind of a pioneer as far as, like, dance pop. Like, that's so much more complex than, like...
Totally. Most
you
pop
know,
music. Really.
Like, this is the evolution past, like, disco, where it's
No,
just,
that's
like,
what I was about to say. Is I really
and
like
some shit to-
the intro, like, simple acoustic bit
Yeah.
into that more techno...
Yeah. Low-key start.
Yeah.
Right? But,
Bearing the
basically...
lead.
Basically, in this song, she's doing some fucking Kendrick Lamar shit. You know what I mean by that? She's talking about...
The layers.
She's talking about all these things that are accessible, that are pleasant to listen to, where if you don't want to get into the deep meaning, you don't have to. She's talking about diamonds.
Dude, fuckloads of
fast
diamonds. I heard people die while they're trying to find them. Pretty solid. Pretty solid bar.
Really sick. But this whole time, you know, the chorus is about she doesn't know what's right or wrong anymore, and that she's kind of been programmed by capitalism, but more specifically by
Consumerism, almost.
By consumerism and Hollywood and advertising.
Being
and
told
stuff.
what to want. For sure.
She's literally programmed in that way.
Yeah.
So it's portrayed that being successful is having all of these things and being able to be an asshole, being able to cuss at people and stuff. And another bar that I just noticed this time was life's about film stars and less about mothers.
I was just reading that too.
And it's just like, you know, this almost goes into like some conservative shit about like the family unit almost.
But family alone.
But
not
just like
that traditional nuclear family.
Being a mother like just is not valued as much in society. It's seen as like something else. And I think part of that goes back to the end of World War II, where they basically doubled their workforce because the women started working. They're like, so everyone can work, not just the men?
Yeah.
Bet. So our corporate overlords...
Extra money.
Our corporate overlords
extra
were
hours.
Like, yeah, everyone fucking... And you know what that does? That makes the kids easier to manipulate too if they don't have
a parent there like that.
Yeah.
Then you just stick them in front of the TV, and the tube tells them what to do and how to be, and they go to school where they're taught how to be good little factory workers. Clock in, clock out, 30 minutes for lunch, 20 minutes in our case.
Yeah. Nutty. Absolutely nutty.
Absolutely nutty.
But
society does... I couldn't even write society like this.
But the point that I remembered when listening to that was a quote in a Lupe Fiasco song. It wasn't a Lupe quote, but it was like a sample that was put in there. And he has really cool like quotes and stuff in there where it's like, huh.
Yeah.
I don't even know who this is, but they're kind of
that's heady as fuck.
But someone was talking about how if art functions properly, it's a cog in the machine for the revolution. It's basically, you know, anti-establishment in that way, and it's supposed to build against that stuff. But in a way, hip-hop is kind of...
It can be
hip-hop more
consumerized.
specifically, but all music and culture in general has been kind of dumbed down to the point where... what they're talking about is brands. They're talking about cars and all this shit.
Yeah.
And they're literally a lot of the time saying, if you don't have this shit, you're not
nothing.
shit.
Yeah.
Don't talk to me if you don't have what I have.
Yeah.
Don't even say anything.
Don't look in my direction.
You don't know how to grind like me, because I'm different.
Yeah.
And those people are rewarded by capitalism because they're supporting capitalism.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying to...
The industry will prop them up
So
for promoting that mentality.
So what do you think of that song?
I fuck with it. Like I said, I really liked the acoustic intro into that sort of techno sound.
Yeah, I like that it wasn't all...
There was a good
super
vibe
techno.
switch there.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite lyrics might be, I'm a weapon of massive consumption.
I like that little wordplay there.
Little wordplay. It's pretty solid.
Little twist, because rhymes.
Yeah. And I do like the very obvious, just like... what is the fear of? That's my question.
So
That's not as explicitly stated as everything else. That's the most
I'm
open-ended
glad
thing
you
here.
brought it up, because I think that the fear is if you don't have material success, if you don't have this crazy success, I think the fear in your head is that's nothing, that you'll end up with nothing, that you'll end up broke, not being able to support yourself, all that. I think that's the fear.
Fear of nothing.
I think that's the fear that drives capitalism.
The fear of nothing.
Is ending up with nothing.
I think part
when
of
the
it's
game
also
ends.
like FOMO. Like,
Yeah.
if you don't have money, you can't experience these things that everybody else has. And that is
fear
sort of the
of missing
illusion,
out.
too, is like in advertising, in the sort of industry.
Yeah. Look at these
it
people
is
drinking
promoted
Coke.
as, like,
They're so happy.
It's like everybody does this, and you're the one missing out. Not the actual reality of most people are trying to make ends meet, living paycheck to paycheck.
Look at these people getting out of their Nissan,
Because the celebrities
Nissan
are who are in
SUV
your face.
and going to surf.
Yeah.
Look at how happy they are.
You could surf too if you had a Nissan SUV.
You could have a healthy relationship with your family
And luxurious
if you
hair.
just had a Nissan.
You would look exactly like this actor that we have in this advertisement.
And saying that out loud, you kind of realize how fucking outlandish that is.
But that's what they're trying to tell you.
The point to it is that it's so subtle.
Yeah.
It's so subtle.
The
that
reason it doesn't
you're
come across as
thinking
ridiculous
about
is
that.
because it's subtle.
Yeah.
Most of the time. Yeah.
And that's why radio ads didn't work as well, because because they had to explain, they had to use imagery. They were like, do you want to be happy?
Then come on down.
You want that girl to talk to you? Show her how much of a Sigma you are.
If I heard Sigma on the radio, oh my
Yeah.
god.
That joke didn't even really make sense because they didn't really talk like that back when radio was a thing. But anyways.
It still exists. It's just not a thing anymore.
Sigma Radio.
Sigma radio. Oh my god.
You're listening to Sigma Radio. You want to talk about universal basic income?
Yeah, no. I don't know. I like universal basic income. What's your take?
Playing devil's advocate here, and someone said that to me the other day, and they argue for some shit that they definitely believe in. And for the record, I want to say that devil's advocate in this case means that
You're actually playing devil's advocate.
I do support universal basic income. I don't believe that your monetary value on society should mean that you just can't live.
Yeah.
And we have some things like that in place, but not good enough. Like, for example,
They're not
your
accessible
unemployment
enough.
kicks you off at some point. You have to
Yeah.
you have to prove if you deserve to be on
And-
welfare, and it's still not really
Or
enough.
like disability, where it's like you
Yeah.
can't earn more than a certain amount. Or like a lot of welfare programs, you can't have so much in savings even.
yeah.
Like you can't have
Which is
a
crazy.
certain amount of savings
But to play
even
devil's
if you're earning a
advocate,
certain level.
if no matter what, if you are an able-bodied person and you have the choice to make the same income working at McDonald's or not working at McDonald's,
Yeah.
what are you choosing to do?
Yeah.
Not work at McDonald's. Fucking
Yeah.
obviously. So And
I don't know. I think there would still be enough, like... Sometimes people just want to work to, like, get out of the house.
Yeah.
And if we had enough people just working, like, 2 shifts a week at McDonald's because they want to get out of the house...
Yeah.
Also, I don't know if it should be the same amount. I think universal basic income should be enough. And then everything else, you're working for more than enough.
Right. For the extra shit.
Yeah.
For sure.
Because I think it's really all about people living within their needs. I think we live in a society where disproportionately people live outside their needs. Mm-hmm. Or are told that they need to attain...
Fuckloads of diamonds.
Fuckloads of diamonds to live beyond their means. There are so many people that, like, go into debt because of, like, wedding rings and shit like that. And
I don't get it.
Diamonds have no actual value. They can be made in a fucking lab. They're not that rare. It's just a monopoly. There's actually just, like, one company that controls the sourcing of 90% of the world's diamonds.
Yeah.
It's artificially jacked the fuck up and valuable. But because it's what you buy when you get married... Everybody will sell a fucking kidney for one.
Talk about cultural constructs. There's definitely a point in time where you could get married and not require a diamond ring.
I mean, there was a point in time where people would just get married, and it's not this whole everything in white ceremony, where that used to just be for the rich people. It was just, we can afford white fabric.
Yeah.
Let's do it for this special occasion.
Right.
It's ridiculous. There's so many things like that. So I think really in my mind, when I think about universal basic income, it's like everybody needs a certain amount of food to live and certain foods to maintain a balanced diet and live healthily. Mm-hmm. Everybody needs someplace decent enough to sleep and clean themselves.
Right.
And keep their shit. So there's no reason that, like, people should have a house with 5 bedrooms and 3 bathrooms and it's just like them and their maid and their kid, like,
that's the...
It should realistically be you have as many bedrooms as you have, like, people.
Right.
Almost.
That's the wealth gap that people talk about, is that difference between
means of living. Yeah.
People that have...
Because there are people that have one room that they live in. You know, a studio apartment. You have one room that you're living in.
Vote for Preston.
I'm based as fuck.
Preston for president.
I'd do it if I didn't do the podcast. Or have tattoos. I don't think people would like a president with tattoos.
No, your tattoos are wholesome.
I'm for the people.
Just tell them the story about how this one's...
from a children's book.
How it's related to your mom, and everyone's just going to be like, aww.
Everything
Popularity
else,
points through the roof.
Everything else, just classic little things. A rose, got an anchor.
Yeah, it's not exactly offensive.
Got some cartoon characters. I don't have, like, fuck you on my forehead.
I think that should be my hot
teardrop
to end the episode. I think tattoos shouldn't have people prejudice against you. I think if you have fucking stupid tattoos, that you should...
Yeah.
Not as valuable. Like, if you have a big ass SpongeBob on you, then maybe you shouldn't be hired. Okay?
I would.
SpongeBob
You'd be surprised by the amount of people that have stupid tattoos like that, though.
Tattoo of Bart Simpson smoking weed.
That's so common, though.
You are not a productive member of society. Maybe you should just not.
Just quit. Just rely on universal basic income.
Yes.
Don't even work at McDonald's.
I think the talks of that are probably going to ramp up soon, because, like, with automation continuing...
Oh my god, right? If there's so many jobs that AI could just be doing, or a robot could just be doing, why not? We'll still make money as a society. There will still be money in circulation.
Dude, I went to...
In my mind, it's like, people spending money, good for economy. Why not give everybody money to spend to make economy good? Isn't that how it's supposed to work?
Prove me wrong, Reagan. I went to Chick-fil-A for the first time in forever the other day, because I always used to get it on campus. Mm-hmm. And then the campus one, the
campus one's the most morally...
They're all surly
correct
and stuff. And then I went to the one by my new crib, and they were like, "How are you doing today, sir?" It was just like so weird. Like the power dynamic was like, "My pleasure." It's
I
like,
hate my pleasure.
It's like, why are you being so submissive right now, dude? Like, have some self-respect. Are they making you say that?
Yes.
Do they have a gun to the back of their head and
They're
a
gonna
microphone on them?
They're actually just gonna play like kill switch code on the headset if they don't
just
say
drop.
it.
If
It'll
I
just
was
be a tone that activates the fucking Suicide Squad bomb in their base of their skull.
I have a lot of things that I think if I had more like free time to just do whatever the fuck I want, I would work at Chick-fil-A just so I could undo that power dynamic. You'd roll up,
Go in and fuck it all up.
You'd roll up and I would be like, "What's good, bro?" What happened to the nice workers? They gone. They gone.
They gone. It's just me now.
Just Louie.
You don't even like walk them forward or nothing like they usually do. You actually just use both of your arms to block both lanes of traffic. Say, "What's your order? What's your order?" Okay, next.
Keep it rocking.
Keep it rocking.
I'm not asking you for your name. Just fucking... I'm not here to humanize you.
They'll
Just
repeat
give
it
them
back
their
to you
number.
when you get up there.
Give them your receipt. Is it that hard? I don't need to know your fucking name. I feel so awkward giving people my name.
Honestly,
Because, like, who wants to
I'm the
know?
sort of person where I would do a fake name every so often.
My dad does.
I'll just be like, Joe. It's just Joe. That's so easy, because I've been like Preston, and it's been loud in places, and they'll be like, Rusty? And I'm like, what am I, fucking Dale Rusty Shackelford?
Rusty. It's so funny. Sorry, I know that we need to wrap it up.
You're good.
But I give people my name at restaurants as Louis a lot of the time, because Louis leads to some confusion. They're like, the worst feeling is when they're like, "How do you spell that?"
You
And
live
it's like,
in a city.
but it's, yes. But more importantly, it's like,
How else
just
can you
put
spell it?
anything down. I'm not going to be fucking offended because you don't know how to spell Louis, which you don't. You don't. But the funny part is my dad's fake name that he gives is
Well, his name's
Louis.
Lowell.
My dad gives the fake name as Louis.
That's really funny.
So that's the name that I'm trying to evade having to deal with customer service workers.
Yeah.
With. And he's like, "Oh, that's
well, his name's
better
Lowell.
than LOL."
And they're going to be like, how do you spell that?
LOL.
Is that LOL? Yes. Yes, it is. That's still so funny.
It's
like,
so funny.
I
made up ass name.
made up ass name.
If you think you can spell it, you can't.
You can't.
I would worry about doxing my dad on here, but you cannot spell LOL. You don't know how to spell LOL. I don't know what to tell you. You can put as many combinations in there as you want. You are not going to find it.
Honestly,
Off
though,
the grid.
how often does your phone autocorrect? Like, would it correct the way that you spell his name into LOL?
No, because I never type his name.
Let me see.
I don't be using my dad's first name.
That's true. That's true.
I know some people that only refer to their parents as like the first name. It's like,
That's weird.
damn.
That's just weird.
You mean
Let's
my
be
dad?
honest.
Hey, lol.
Okay, it thinks that I'm trying to spell lollipop, lovely, or LOL.
All of the above.
It's not even the word lollipop, it's the lollipop emoji. Thank you, Google AI.
Alright, I hope that we've given you all tips to be happy, or rather to not be happy.
Fuck society, man.
I hope you all make better life decisions off of this. I know that if you're just naturally a bag chaser, you're not going to listen to this and
Yeah.
be like, yeah,
These
they're
guys are
right.
talking out their asses.
That's okay.
Just try to be happy.
Is that a chicken?
No, that was a movie. They're watching
Cock-a-doodle-doo.
How to Train Your Dragon upstairs.
I love How to Train Your Dragon. I'm going
Isn't that-
upstairs.
Is that like the best movie of all time? Honestly,
Hey,
one of
guys.
the most solid trilogies I could name too.
Yeah, the first one's the best one.
Yeah.
To me though, it's kind of like the Spider-Man ones where like the origin story is just naturally going to be the best one. And
Yeah, for sure.
Adding more shit to it, making it more complicated, just gonna make it
Take it
deviate
away from
the natural
what you enjoyed originally.
story structure of it.
For sure. All right. Yeah, that's all the time we have for this week.
Yeah. Bang, 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 bang.
We'll be back next Thursday. Highly suspicious every Thursday.
The fly is dead.
The fly is fucking dead.
Wow.